Good evening, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and this is yet another edition of my For My Students video series. I usually start off these particular videos with something pleasant, but in this particular case, I'm going to start this particular video with something that is a little less pleasant. And you'll see the reason why in just a minute. But anyway, this video response is going to go out to Dan Brown, otherwise known as Pogobat, otherwise known as one of the hosts of Fuse. I know he's not a host anymore, but he used to be a host of Fuse, the Fuse Network. And several years ago, he uploaded a video about expletives and how he encouraged people to use expletives, and it wasn't any big deal. I, of course, responded back to him and told him that it actually was a very big deal and not to do that. It destroys relationships. It can cause somebody to actually be fired from their job. That's not a good thing. That really isn't a good thing. So who prevailed after all this? Well, let's ask YouTube. What has YouTube done? Well, they have demonetized and delisted videos that use expletives on a regular basis. So who was proven correct after all? Well, you're looking at him. I was proven correct. So, everybody here who is watching me right now, listen to me very carefully. Do not use expletives on a regular basis. You could put your job in jeopardy, you could put your relationship in jeopardy, and you can actually put your YouTube videos in jeopardy. After all, don't you guys want to monetize your videos? Well, if you do, don't take Dan Brown's advice. Take mine instead. And that's all I've got to say about that. Alright, let's move on, shall we? Alright, a couple of weeks ago I had company. I don't have company very often. I don't have that big of a family, so I don't have company very often, but in this particular case, I did have some company. And so that's why videos didn't go up. And then last week I was busy. The main reason is I have an old computer and I was able to successfully load Linux into that old computer. And now that I have done so, I am trying to get it all set up and ready to go so I can do some more of those HTML videos. This is particularly focused on SVG. There will be more videos about that in the not so distant future. I have also been taking notes. As you can plainly see, I've been taking notes for other videos. On my Patreon page, I do have the story of candy corn. I have not yet produced that particular video, but it is up there anyway. You can read that for yourself. Anyway, the memory videos from now on will be a mixed bag. You will never know exactly what you're going to get, but you're going to get a good story anyway. Okay? Sometimes there'll be Reader's Digest stories. Other times there'll be stories I just find off the internet. Sometimes they're going to be stories about people, and it will involve medical terminology. Not all of medical terminology, but some of the medical terminology. Okay? And the reason for that is, as I have tried to come up with ways to memorize medical terms, sometimes you just have to refer back to a particular person and their particular struggle with a particular disease, because there's just no clever way to remember it otherwise. See what I mean? So that's part of what's kept me busy. The other part was that recently a gentleman by the name of Jonathan Cahn produced a book called The Paradigm. I have actually read this book, and in my 4th Kindle book, I will discuss the Paradigm book. Okay? Now, the title of my book will be in the description below. I'll place the title of the next book in the description below. It is not completely done yet. I am working with James Patrick Holding on it. He is editing my book even as we speak. And so therefore, once it's all said and done and ready to go, it should hopefully be up by Christmas. If not, it will be up early next year. And you'll be able to read it for yourself. It's going to be quite extensive. And there's going to be a lot of humorous parts to it. And you're going to learn a lot. I'm not kidding, you're going to learn quite a bit. How much will I charge for it? The same $5 I've been charging for everything else. Now, what about Patreon? Okay, now I did figure out from Patreon how to keep certain people from certain content. In other words, if you want to read the notes to some of my new videos, you can read that for $1. If you want to read beyond that, if you want to read a sampling of my next Kindle book or whatever, that's going to be $2, and so on and so forth. I did figure that out. Crazy Josh Cravey, please contact me about that. I will tell you exactly how to do that. And later on, starting in 2018, I will make a video about that and tell you guys how to actually do that. I encourage you to stick with making Kindle books over Patreon, and that's because Patreon's nice to have, no question about it, but it can be somewhat of a hassle. And we don't want that. Now, if for some reason you guys are not able to see what you really need to see and you have actually donated to me on Patreon, let me know. I'll check that out. And if you really have donated like you say you have, I will make sure you get the content that you're supposed to get. Alright, and that's because I'm still working with a Patreon. It's not as simple as everybody like to think it is. It's not bad, but it's not really all that simple either. So work with me and I'll work with you. I don't want you deprived of anything, especially if you're donating to me. I mean that. I really mean that. But anyway, I'm going to try to stick mostly with Kindle books over Patreon, and for a good reason. It's a lot simpler to do a Kindle book than to actually do a Patreon. It really is, in that case. So, that's the other reason why I have been kept so busy. Alright. I know, that's a lot of information for you. I do have some big plans in 2018. As I stated, I think, in a previous video, or I may have just stated this earlier in this video, I do have my old computer working with Linux. I will get some more HTML videos up. I'd like to get some more memory videos up. If you guys want more video response wars, please send the videos in. I will declare you the winner. Just send them in and I will do it. It may take me a little while, but it will be done. I promise you that. Another milestone that I reached this year was that I got 100,000 views on my channel in just 1 year. That's incredible. And I'm sure if you guys have been looking at my total lifetime views on my YouTube channel, you see that it's almost at 600,000. It should cross over that by the end of the year. Now, another thing that's going to be coming up is, once again, I'm going to videotape the Taylorville Festival of Lights. That's in Taylorville, Illinois. There are other Festival of Light things that are going on around Central Illinois. I would love to go to them. Unfortunately, I'm not going to have the time, and it also depends on the weather. Taylorville's not that far from where I'm at. But if you talk about places like Chatham or Peoria or even Champaign, that's a long trip. And I don't want to take that long of a trip all by myself. So eventually that will come. Alright. Anyway, all I have to say at this point is I wanted to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. I am going through what is called Retail Christmas. And what that means is that there are longer hours, there's more demand on me, so I don't necessarily get the time I need to do the kind of videos I need to do. But thankfully, thanks to Patreon, I am able to get video notes out. And so therefore, if you guys want to see that, that's fine. You are going to enjoy my 4th Kindle book. It will come. It really will come. I'm working on this right now. So, woo! What's in store for 2018? Well, I'll tell you what's in store. I'm going to try once again to get the Euclid's Elements back on track. And I'm going to try to finish all the calculus videos. And we're going to try to do all kinds of other things. So, hang in there, folks. It's coming. It may take a little longer than expected, but it is coming. Alright. Hopefully you guys will enjoy the memory videos I will be posting tonight. I will also be posting a video response to Nick Jodoin. I know you've never heard of him before, but you're going to, you're not going to forget him when I tell you about him. Anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. If you guys want to ask me any questions, please send them my way. I'd love to answer them for you. I can't think of another thing to say. If I think of something, I'll put in another For My Students video. I will be doing a video response to Walmart soon. Very soon. Thank you guys very much for watching this presentation. I'm glad you're all here. Oh, one other thing. Crazy Josh Cravey. As you well know, I have the notes to Greg's list. I will be sending them to you very, very soon. And then we can get that video collab done very, very soon. So bear with me, and maybe another week. I don't know. It just depends on my schedule. Alright. I will tell you more in a future video, so I would like for you to stay tuned. Good evening, everyone, and happy Thanksgiving. It is once again Ted the Speed Learner, and I am here once again to declare the winner of the VRW this week, which happens to be none other than Crazy Josh Cravey. Congratulations, Crazy Josh Cravey. You are once again the winner of the VRW this week, and the video you submitted into the contest was about a cute and very adorable, very talented doggy. I'm not kidding you, this doggy is cute, adorable, and very talented all at the same time. That's good. Anyway, I have some questions about this doggy, and I hope you have the answers. If you do, please leave them down here in the comments below. Alright, the title of your video was, Who Are You? And here are my questions. What is the name of the dog? How old is the dog? What is the dog's favorite toy? Where was the dog when this video was recorded? Does the person who let me say this again. Does the person who owns the dog have any other pets? All right. I am looking forward to the answers to any and all of these questions. In the meantime, I hope everybody who is watching this video is having a wonderful Thanksgiving right now. I'm sorry this came so late. I will make a separate video tonight about why it took so long to get all this stuff up here. In the meantime, I wish everybody a very happy Thanksgiving, and if for some dumb reason I don't see you guys before Christmas, I also wanted to wish you a Merry Christmas, everybody. And once again, I wanted to say congratulations to Crazy Josh Cravey for being the winner of the VRW this week. Thank you very much for submitting the video. In the meantime, I hope you guys have a great week. I will be eating my turkey bird just like the rest of you. Alright, I will tell you more in a future video, so I would like for you to stay tuned. This video response is going to go out to Nick Jodoin, and that's because you uploaded a music video which is a sampling of the Nicolette Larson song, Lotta Love. Now, who is, or actually was, Nicolette Larson? Well, according to MTV, Nicolette Larson grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. Prior to settling in Los Angeles, she spent time in San Francisco, California, and in Vancouver, Canada. Her success came when she became friends with Neil Young. He had recorded a song called Lotta Love. When she told him that she liked the song, he let her have the song. Now later in her life, her liver failed. Not long thereafter, she died of a condition called cerebral edema. That's pretty bad. And she wasn't all that old either. Now then, now that we've told you who Nicolette Larson was, who is Nick Jodoin? Well, he is a record producer. He partnered with the owners of the Valentine Recording Studio to create some modern music samplings. One of the songs that he sampled in 2004 is the Nicolette Larson song, Lotta Love, which I know is really the Neil Young song, but Nicolette Larson took it up through the charts. You can see that for yourself. Now, basically, on a basic level, it is the same song except for a few things. Number one, Nick Jodoin removed every ounce of the violin playing. That's terrible. Then he removed all the saxophone playing. And then on top of that, there is a section of the song which there is a flute player. He removed that too. Basically, in essence, what he did was he did to Nicolette Larson's song what an ordinary person would do if they poured a glass of root beer and just removed all the carbonation. It's a very flat song. I'm not kidding you. It's a very, very flat song. Now, outside of Nicolette Larson's voice, I personally feel that the saxophone and flute playing gave this song the flavor it needed to become a #1 hit. I'm very disappointed that Mr. Jodoin decided to make Lotta Love one of the most bland songs in history. That was a real shame. And to remove that violin was just as bad. Thankfully, I do have the original Nicolette Larson song, and anybody can download it off the internet if they want. But the thing is, if you want to hear the comparison between these two versions of the song, well, I have hyperlinks down here in the description below. You can compare the two for yourself, and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. Okay? Anyway, that's all I have to say for this particular video. I thank you guys very much for tuning in and watching all this. I hope that Nick Jodoin decides to apologize for what he's done. If not, well, not much I can do about that. But I can say that what you're hearing from Nick Jodoin is a very bland version of Nicolette Larson's Lotta Love. If you hear the original version, you're going to like it a lot better. Okay. I will tell you more in a future video, so I would like for you to stay tuned. I'm now going to continue my video series on memory with the story of Kevin Karstens. Now, I realize that I did a video about this particular story a few years ago, but I never told you how to memorize the key details of this particular story. So, tonight I'm going to tell you how to do that. Okay. Now, the story originally came from a Reader's Digest article, but thankfully I also found a web article that contained basically the same story, and the hyperlink to that particular story is right down here in the description below, so you can look that up for yourself. Okay, the first thing I would like for you to do is picture in your head that there are a bunch of mountains and they are smoking brush instead of cigarettes. Okay? So you're going to picture that in your head. Now, Kevin Karstens is standing in a group of people. And some of these people are Southern Belles. Now, another person that's standing there is former President Jimmy Carter. And let's imagine that standing next to both of these guys is Clark Gable. Okay? They are standing in Clark Gable's village. Kevin and Sharon is Kevin's wife, or was Kevin's wife. From what I understand, Kevin is no longer with us, but I don't know that for sure. I thought I had read that, but I don't know for sure. But anyway, you guys can look that up for yourself. They were sharing their very dusty dog. This dog is covered in dust. Okay? That's why Sharon is stroking their dog with a feather duster. Everyone there is drinking tea. Now, outside of Clark Gable's village is an old tree next to a very old cemetery. There is a rope slung around Kevin's shoulder. Kevin is holding a chainsaw. Florida wildlife constantly circles around Sharon. Sharon is also surrounded by mold. This mold causes Sharon to have headaches. There is a tour guide holding a rope from a tow truck. Okay? Suddenly, a stern Clydesdale horse appears. Tied to his back is a sailing mast. The horse slams his head into Kevin's left shoulder. There is one more person standing with Kevin and his entourage. Her name is Debbie, and she is holding a wheel. There is a baby sitting next to her. Now, if you apply all of those things to that story, you will remember all the important details of that particular story. See what I mean? All right. Well, I thank you very much for watching this particular video. I hope you have a great week. I will tell you more in a future video, so I'd like for you to stay tuned. I'm now going to continue my video series on memory with a story about an oil pipeline. Okay? And the hyperlink to that particular story will be right down here in the description below. Alright, so how do we remember the important details of this particular story? Now, Oklahoma is sitting on a cushion. There is an oily hair perm located in Texas. It's inside a basin. A pipeline that connects the oily perm to the Oklahoma cushion is very worried because it's under pressure. But it's not too worried because the pressure is low. Okay. Alright. Now, that's the whole story, basically, or at least how you're supposed to remember all these particular details. Anyway, I'd like to thank you very much for watching this particular video. Tell me what you think. Leave your comments down here in the comments below. If you think of anything else that should be remembered from this particular story, let me know. In the meantime, you guys have yourself a wonderful week, and I will tell you more in a future video, so I would like for you to stay tuned. I'm now going to continue my video series on memory with the history of the Payday candy bar. Now, there are a couple of hyperlinks down here in the description below. I know there's more than one, but there's a good reason for that, so just read them and see them for yourself. Okay. Now, let's first imagine that the Hollywood sign is in Minnesota. What sign am I referring to? Well, you can see that hyperlink down here in the description below. Now, imagine a factory sitting next to this sign. Okay? Let me say that again. We've got a picture in our head, a factory which is sitting next to the Hollywood sign. Okay? This factory produces macaroni-shaped chocolate candy. Imagine that. Macaroni-shaped chocolate candy. That looks interesting. I'm sure somebody's going to market that one of these days, if they haven't already. The guy who owns the factory, and if I mispronounce this, I apologize in advance, is F.A. Martocchio. And I believe that is an Italian name. F.A. Martocchio. If I've mispronounced that, I'm sorry. How will we remember this particular name? Okay. Just imagine that he owns a cocoa-dusted supermarket. See what I mean? Now, one of the machines in Mr. Marto, and I believe it probably, just thinking back to my Italian, probably it should be Martocchio. Maybe it's Martocchio. And again, if I've mispronounced that, I'm sorry. Just imagine that one of the machines in this guy's factory is malfunctioning. So he buys another factory, I mean a literal whole nother factory, just to acquire the one machine that he actually needs. Well, this particular factory that he buys was once a candy-making factory. Now, two people own the factory that Mr. Marto... Maybe it's Martocchio, I don't know. Hopefully somebody else can help me out on this, okay? So two people own the factory that this particular guy bought, okay? The first person is prattling like a fool. The other person is singing in a loft, okay? Now, Mr. Martocchio, I'm going to say Martocchio because I'm just pretty sure that's how it's pronounced. Okay, now this guy is arrested. And not him, I'm sorry, not him he's arrested. His macaroni is arrested, okay? And that's because it's misbranded as noodles. So it's not the guy that's arrested, it's the macaroni that he's making that's arrested. Okay, you can see a hyperlink to that down here in the description below. After the macaroni is released from jail, a couple of this guy's employees decided to create the payday candy bar. They didn't know what to call the thing at first. So imagine that they're suddenly now holding paychecks in their hands. And that's why they decided to name the candy bar the way they did. Okay. Well, anyway, thank you guys very much for being so patient with me on this particular video. I'm pretty sure I pronounced that guy's name wrong, and I'm sure I'm going to get flagged for it. Please do if you want to. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great week. I will tell you more in a brand new video. Whenever I get to it, I will tell you more stuff in a brand new video in the not so distant future, so I would like for you to stay tuned.